Yo, what is going on, everybody? Gabriel Santos here, and in today's video I'm gonna spit a little more freely, just from the heart. I mean, that's typically what it is anyways, but overall I just want to share a message from my soul. All right, so in the last couple weeks I've been working with many of you on an individual level in regards to marijuana addiction. And there are several key problems that all of you seem to come to me with, right? And the one I want to talk to about primarily right now is the conflict, the inner conflict of wanting to change but wanting things to stay the same. And more specifically, the inner conflict of wanting to be in control, wanting moderation with weed, but also still wanting that lifestyle that you've been living, right? Wanting to do it anytime you want, and so it's confusing, right? It's confusing. And that's the first thing I want to acknowledge for all of you, is that it is going to be confusing. That can be a common part of your experience in this journey, because you are in the process of making very deep shifts in yourself, right? Deep transformations at a very deep level, right? To go from someone who really seeks comfort and pleasure in smoking weed versus someone who is willing to take on more responsibility in your life, willing to let go of immediate pleasure in favor of long-term growth. And I guess the second message for you here is to let you know that those two lifestyles are very different, right? And so because they're very different, you're not going to be used to it right away. In fact, it's going to feel uncomfortable at times. You're going to go through levels of suffering, and it's not going to feel automatic, right? You're going to have to put in more conscious effort, and just more conscious effort from the get-go, right? And one of my favorite examples is when you learn how to drive, right? Go back to if you've been driving for a while now, go back to when you first started learning. And if you can recall, when you first started learning how to drive, it's like, oh my gosh, where do I put my foot? How do I gotta check over my shoulder? Like, how do I look over my shoulder but keep track of the road? And then you have this, and you want to choose the radio, and it's like, oh my gosh, freeway, there's too many things to remember, right? There's so many things, so much going on. Whereas now, if you've been driving for a little bit, even probably for like a couple weeks, like a lot of that stuff is on autopilot. Right? And so for you, how this relates back to your weed use is, you have smoking whenever you want on autopilot, right? You don't even have to really try, like it just happens. Whereas if you want to say no, right, if you want to have a boundary with marijuana, that's going to take more effort, because it's like the walls, right? The boundaries that say no, 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 they're not really set yet, right? It's almost like, it's like this, right? It's like, pretend that this is your boundary, right? This is your boundary, right? Your shield even to marijuana cravings. Right now there's no boundary at all, right? If you're someone that really doesn't have experience with saying no and having discipline around marijuana, there is no boundary, right? So the cravings come and there it is, right? So you do your best, right? You do your best. You do your best. And so at first, you probably have like this little baby shield, right? That you have to really put all your might into at the beginning. And so the craving comes and you really have to push, right? No, right? But it's like, but then the cravings come, and the cravings, they can be massive, right? So it's like you have a giant craving, but you only have the smallest shield, and you barely have any strength to begin with, right? But then over time, this is what happens, right? A craving comes, so you resist, you get stronger, right? You have more muscle. And then over time, what happens is your walls get bigger. And then with even more As you develop, as you grow, as you come to understand yourself, as you have more success with discipline, that shield becomes a straight up wall, right? Where you don't even really have to try. You've put in the groundwork such that the boundary that you have in your life with weed, it's a fucking wall. And you could just sit there like, the cravings come, right? Right? Other cravings, right? Right? And so, I guess to go back to the original message, is that it's gonna be challenging at first. It's gonna require more effort, more conscious effort. You're gonna feel more pain and struggle in the beginning. But over time, right, as you demonstrate strength, as you have success with saying no, it's gonna get easier. But what I see happening with a lot of you is, and this was the same for myself, is that we have such grandiose visions for ourselves. And yet, one of the most challenging parts of that is really the groundwork in the beginning. Because it's more painful in the beginning. It's more uncomfortable in the beginning. And to go again back to the lifestyle difference between short-term pleasure and long-term growth is that, first of all, long-term growth is more work and more time before you actually get that big reward. Whereas with short-term gratification, it's no work, no time, all the reward, right? And so, for example, I'm working with someone and they recently went a week weed-free. And so their brain is probably like, okay, like, where's the rewards? Where's the rewards? I've gone 7 days without smoking weed. Where's the rewards? And what I'm here to tell you is, you probably experience some sense of growth in 7 days, but the real big shifts that you're looking for, they are still down the line. They are still down the line. And so this is kind of the difficult part about making this change, is that you can't tangibly see, like, when is this shit coming? When are the rewards? Where's my treasure at? Whereas with marijuana, you know for damn sure, all I gotta do is hand over my money, get the weed, and consume it. And I know happiness is on its merry way, right? But for many of you, you're still not really used to what is the formula for long-term success. When is the payoff? When is the payoff? When is the payoff, right? So it's a different lifestyle. It's 100% a different lifestyle. And you can do it. You can make that shift. The cost, what's the price of admission to make that shift, right? From short-term to long-term? A lot of saying no. A lot of saying no to short-term pleasures. A lot of saying yes to the correct actions that will lead you to where you want to go. And it's different. Whereas in your other lifestyle, it's say yes to immediate gratification whenever, and say no to putting in the actions that will lead me towards long-term success. So it's literally a fucking different way of living. But you got to train yourself to get into that mode, to that long-term mode. You got to train it. You got to earn it, right? Everyone who has a six-pack, I don't anymore. Unfortunately, I don't anymore. But everyone who has ever had a six-pack, maybe not everyone, but most people, right? They don't get there for free. You know what the getting there for free version of a body is? It's what most of us have. It's like 20 to 30% body fat. That is the free version. No work, no effort, right? That's the short-term gratification trade-off. In exchange for pleasure today through food, I am going to have a 20 to 30% body fat type body. Whereas a long-term mindset is, in exchange for working out and nutrition today, I'm going to have a 10 to 20% body fat body. And so to cap this off, the short-term mindset with weed is, in exchange for being stoned and relaxed right now, I'm going to accept whatever consequences come with that. Okay, and this is specifically for people who have an addictive / dependent type relationship, because I know many people who smoke weed and they don't have such a dramatic trade-off, right? But for you, if you're someone who has just centered your life around drugs, around marijuana, the trade-off here is that if you want long-term growth, you have to sacrifice short-term highs for long-term highs that you have to earn. And that was one of the biggest pills for me to swallow, is that you actually have to earn it. You actually have to put in effort. You actually have to wait. So it's really no wonder why many people fall addicted to short-term pleasures, because it's fucking easy as fuck. Like, what the hey? You know? So, rise to the occasion. Right? Rise to the occasion. Be someone of a different breed. And you could choose to be of a different breed, guys. I am really no different than any of you. If anything, I'm just like any of you. I was once just so disempowered and handicapped by my irresponsibility when it came with not just marijuana, but my whole fucking life. All right? So, as I like to say, if I can do it, so can you. Of course. All right, that's it for today. I hope this video was valuable to you in some way. If you are still on this video, please go to the description. Email me at g.santos28@gmail.com. I have a free gift for you. All right, that's all for today. I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.